Hey, what's up, everybody? We're out here with Nate at his plot, the Sprout Patch. If you listen to the podcast, you've heard us talk about it. He's got about a 1 acre plot here of the inner sanctum. As you can see, it looks really good. I've got some footage of it too that I'll put in here so you can see it a little bit closer. It's got spring triticale, like 5 different kinds of clover, and then kale. With the taller stuff you're seeing right now is the kale. Hopefully you can see in one of the videos the clover that's underneath of it. But it's looking really good. We actually ran a couple deer out of here when we were coming in. But what was kind of your goal for this? Because I know when we were back here this spring, there wasn't any food here at all.
Correct. So this used to be a food plot years ago. For many reasons, we let it go for a while. This year, we knew it was time to get it back into a food plot and use it kind of how we used to, hopefully better than we used to.
Yeah.
So we've got a creek bordering the whole west side of the plot. There are thickets along the creek. Right here is more of an open spot. To the north, they're going to be bedded up there about 150 yards. They're going to be bedded at the south end of the plot and then headed south toward the big timber that's about 150 yards away. So we're going to have bedding on the opposite side of the plot that we're hunting. They could be bedded realistically 80 to 100 yards away from the stand where we're going to be setting. The stand is in the edge of a thicket on its own with a pretty bulletproof access to slip in here. If my screen works like I'm wanting it to, if I can sneak in behind that, this should be almost a bomb-proof entry and exit spot. Thicket here on the east side as well. If you live anywhere here in the Midwest where we're at, you know that every ash tree in the country is dying. This was an ash sprout patch. That's how we got the name here. It's growing up, it's thick, it's nasty. There's probably 3 acres of sprouts with oaks behind it. So they're going to be in this thicket. They could be behind there feeding on the other side for midday stuff. And then to the south of us, there's a big bedding area in a big patch of woods down there in this creek bottom. And then the woods opens up the further away that you get. Ag fields are this direction. Bedding is that direction. This is going to be a food plot where I expect them to come out very early in the afternoon and camp here until they're ready to go to their destination food later in the evening out that way, about a quarter mile away from us. So we expect them to be here early. We need to be here early. This could be a good all-day sit in the rut because there's bedding so close. Anything could be coming in here at any time of day. We've only had this plot in for about 5 weeks. It's doing fantastic. We took good care of the soil to start with. We did the soil test. We did the proper liming. We did the proper fertilizing. We did everything to try to set this up to be successful. Came in, sowed this before a good rain. We missed it. Luckily, we got some rain in about 10 days, 12 days after we got this in, and it did come up good. So this has only been growing for about 4 weeks now. It's looking really good. The clover's coming up underneath. As you can see, the kale looks phenomenal, but there is other stuff under the kale. Everything else is coming up just like we want it to. So we got high hopes for this spot. We just got a new blind in for this spot. Got it installed a couple weeks ago. Everything is shaping up for this to be exactly what we wanted it to be this fall.
Yeah, and I see this being a pretty good early season and late season spot with the inner sanctum mixed with this clover in here and the kale, and they're going to eat on that stuff in the triticale even late into the season. It's kind of just in a bowl kind of here at the bottom. It's really hid away from everything with, like you're talking about, with the thicket back here and the creek on one side, and then it kind of goes up into the CRP field. We're actually kind of at the bottom of it, so they're going to, like you said, they're going to feel safe in here all day.
They should.
But yeah, you talked about is it radix or radix?
I don't really know. RADIX.
We'll have to find that out. So we talked about maybe doing a review on that thing, because somewhat new, soft shell blind. I got some video of it. It looks really nice. So
very pleased.
Yeah, I think that's going to work out good for you too. So
you
got a couple cameras on this plot.
Yes.
So
cell cam will be down here very shortly. That way I don't have to come in and check these cards.
Right.
The goal is always low impact. This spot has to be low impact because of how much they could be here all the time. It is very secluded. Could be very touchy, but with any kind of west wind or any kind of south wind, I am okay to hunt here. I will not be here if it's other than that.
Yeah, and you've got good stand placement or blind placement and good access for both of those. That westerly to south wind.
Yes.
So that's one thing that's important, is you set up your access along with your blind, so you're not killing yourself coming in or going out.
Yes.
And you can sneak in and out of here, like you said, basically morning, afternoon.
Yes.
This is going to be a pretty solid spot. So
Yeah.
we'll go to the other plot
Yes.
and check it out. Hopefully it's looking good.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll show you guys that. And we're over here at the other plot. This one is the fall draw. It's the south plot is the name that's been given to it.
Yes.
It's, as you can see, it's looking really good too. It's not quite as mature as the other stuff, like you said. Well, we were at the bottom of that bowl. Obviously, that other one's going to get a lot more moisture, but for where this one's up here on top,
Yeah.
I don't think you could ask for much more, especially as dry as it's been.
Correct.
Since it's been planted.
Correct.
We've probably had a couple good rains.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Probably at the 3-week mark of the plots being in the ground. They got the water they needed. We're right at 5 weeks right now, maybe 6 weeks right now. But this thing has really only been growing for 4.5 weeks tops, according to the rains that we got. 10 days after I had seeded these would have been the very first rain they got, so they didn't do anything. I was very worried that they might have sprouted and then died. They obviously didn't. So yeah, they've only been growing 4 weeks, maybe 4.5 weeks. As you can see, they're doing good. We saw a couple of deer coming out here. They're out here already pretty early, and they've already got a bunch of stuff nipped off the top here. We've been looking around, seeing what they're eating. They've been hitting the radishes pretty hard, it looked like. They're already out here. They're liking what it's doing.
Yeah, and this has got, you can go look it up, but I'm not going to remember all of them, but it's got some turnips, the radishes, the Ethiopian cabbage, rutabaga, and then it's got the clover in it as well, correct? A couple different types of clover.
Yes.
So kind of a good, again, a little bit of early season stuff. That obviously we're 2 days away from the opener, and they're in here eating it. So early season stuff, and then this stuff will be here all winter when all the crops are out and all that. If you can't hear us too great, I apologize. But like I said, we've already ran a couple deer out here, and we're 2 days away from the opener, so we're trying not to be too loud and scare a deer all the way back home.
Yep.
So all the way down in town. So yeah, everything's looking good.
Yeah. Acre and a quarter fall draw.
So this one's just a little bit bigger than the other one.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's got good cover on, well, obviously the woods behind us, but the CRP to the deer at 4 or 5 foot high, that's going to be pretty good cover. So they're going to feel safe up here as well. You got good edges on it for them, I think.
Yeah.
What are your goals for this plot? As far as like the other one we talked about, all day kind of thing.
This plot is more of an evening plot. I never really hunt here in the morning. This is an evening plot. I've got a lot of bedding to the west and to the south. Destination food is north. So I've got about 7 acres of woods here, acorns scattered throughout it, mainly oaks and hickories, and then a few softwoods, but mainly oaks and hickories, especially on this east end here. So early season and up to the rut, this is pretty much where I want to be in this area, depending on the wind, either here or on the other side of this little woods. This is the big plot though. This is where I like to be. I want to give them a bigger variety here. I want to give them a bigger area here. That way this can be the main place they can congregate, have plenty to eat, hopefully through the season. They do stay here some late season. They will come back into this stuff. I've always tried to keep some kind of mix like this here. But early season, I want them to come here before they go out to the destination food source. That's pretty much my goal for all of my food plots, is a staging area before they head out to the main food for the night. Entry and exit isn't as good here as some of the other spots. It's touchier. I want to be here more than I can be here. But they will come from everywhere here. It's normally early and mid-season. This is where I like to be.
Yeah, and, really being an acre and a quarter with as much tonnage as you've got here, when all the crops are out and stuff, this could turn into a destination food source.
Sometimes it does.
Towards the end of the season.
Sometimes it does.
Which that time of year is not necessarily the worst thing, because as later it gets in the season, the earlier they're going to start coming out.
Correct.
Might catch a buck in here, and, if you haven't got him by then. On a pretty good pattern. Now you've had food here before, you said, right?
Yes.
The plot wasn't quite as big. You made it a little bigger this year.
Correct. It was about 8/10 of an acre previously. This year it is an acre and a quarter. I did go bigger. I can see very good here as well. It is on a hilltop. I can see down into 2 different creek systems, looking southwest and then looking east. I can see good here. My stand, I do have a good vantage point for all of the cover around. I can see what's going on at other places. So early season, I do have a shot here but it's also a good early season observation point to see exactly where they are. Moving in other spots too far away to really see good. I do have the vantage point here where I can look down and see the edges in other places.
And you get to stand right back here behind us about 20 yards into the woods, so good spot for that, not right on the edge, kind of flagging yourself as you're coming in and going out. I'm a little bit turned around, I think, but is this the woods that we picked up the shed in from your buck?
Yes.
Yeah. On that end?
150 yards straight west.
Okay, so I'm not turned around as the top.
Yeah.
But so this is where we picked up the shed from the buck that you killed last year.
Yep.
I want to say it was episode 11 we talked about that deer on the podcast. The Funky 8, you called it.
Yeah.
If you guys want to hear the story of that deer, you can go check it out. 178 and what?
178 and a half.
Yeah, 178 and 4/8. So living in this area.
Yeah. He lived at the south end of this field.
Yep.
And then the little bowl of woods just past it.
Yeah. So historically, it's a pretty good spot anyway. So I'm pretty excited to see what you're going to have out here.
Yeah.
Just even if you don't end up with anything out of it, seeing what you're going to get on camera and what's going to pull in that maybe you didn't know was here preseason.
Yes.
So
we're pulling cards tonight.
Yeah. There you go. So we'll check that out. We're going to go record a podcast, I think.
Yeah.
I might grab a bite to eat somewhere.
Absolutely.
So, we'll go do that. Thanks for checking it out, guys. Hopefully, again, like I said on the Fry property vlog, the next time you see us out here, it'll be with a big buck.
Yes.
So, or at least the next time you see Nate. Hopefully got some stuff coming up at the cabin still. It's getting late, but I still want to get that stuff in. I got to get that stuff in here in the next week or so. I'm waiting on some seed to come in, but when it comes in, I'm going to get on that, get it out. Probably have to wait a little bit to hunt it, but stay tuned for that. Subscribe down below and hit the notification bell so you see when all our new stuff comes out. But thanks for checking it out.